What if your biggest obstacle isn't your circumstances, but your mindset? Let's get into it.
So, this all centers on one man's story. By all accounts, he was absolutely set up to fail.
He lays out what one person called his victim resume. First up, he's a felon. And yeah, he's also a high school dropout. Grew up in the ghetto. But the list goes on. His past was just brutal. A heroin addict father, a schizophrenic mother, jail, crime, even shootouts.
But check this out. Despite all that, today he's pulling in a six-figure income.
And he's flat out refusing to blame his circumstances or anyone else for his challenges.
This is what commentators are calling a complete rejection of the so-called victim mentality.
In fact, one speaker says his stance is what real leadership looks like.
Now, they link this to masculinity, arguing that embracing victimhood is effeminate and undermines leadership.
But it's not just personal. They claim this whole victim narrative is actually a political strategy.
Why? Well, they say the goals are to keep people dependent and lock down a voting base. So if you challenge this narrative, you're seen as an enemy to what they call race grifters. So, what's the alternative they propose? It's all about radical personal responsibility. They lay out a few steps. Step into your calling, move past labels, and just own your life. And this slide kind of sums up the two mindsets. One attacks, the other asks, how can I help?
The bottom line, they say, is that with this mentality, you become your own worst enemy.
Okay, but adopting this viewpoint isn't exactly a walk in the park. There's some serious backlash.
You get celebrated for saying we're oppressed, but hated for saying skin color isn't a barrier.
So what's behind the fear? One idea is losing preferential treatment from things like DEI.
The core argument here is that real progress comes from looking inward, not pointing fingers.
It really comes down to this quote. What if you just realized, hey, everything is my fault?
Which leaves us with a huge question. How much does a collective narrative shape individual potential?